something, because there are two things to be scared of. First off is a weird laning setup, because it will be there. North America is now famous for that. It's not just Gale Force, but they're the ones who implemented that style initially. Second of all, backdooring of the beacons.
Yeah.
It's going to happen from somebody. If not Muradin, then somebody else.
All right, let's get into it. Draft number 2 here. Currently, Gale Force leads 1-0 over the Australian representative in Nomia. What are we expecting for the Bens?
Well, I think Nomia removes Genji again. They did so in
Yeah.
the first series, in the first map. And Genji is a pseudo-global on this map. With his 2 kinds of mobilities, he can backdoor that. We've seen how good USA is at it. Roll20 runs with that Muradin, with that third wind, the healing, backdooring, just staying at the beacon. And Genji, Medivh are also great tools to achieve that. So very expected ban from Nomia.
As much as, whilst this next ban comes in, as much as Nomia lost the last game, does it give them a bit of confidence going up against Gale Force, considering how much they kind of had them on the ropes a little?
I think it doesn't matter. They lost Infernal Shrine. It's a 3-lane map where backdooring, keep doing Punisher is a thing. That's completely different
so
on this
different.
map. Yeah, I think it's unrelated to this map even.
I
would
mean, in the series
say
in
from a
general.
mindset position, I would say that they were probably a little bit annoyed.
Right.
I would be annoyed if I had so many team fights where a target that I was trying to kill but just barely escapes every time.
Yeah,
And you know that if that target dies, you can snowball harder. So, if anything, I would say that Nomia probably is not too unhappy about the map, since they can fight in the 4-man for a long time.
Right.
But then it comes back to what Gilly talked about. If there's a lot of globals that are being played, then Gale Force can try and just use the macro play again. And we have seen, for example, in Europe, so many double global strategies where you run 2 globals on 1 lane and you jump into a 5 versus 3 on the bot lane, or you switch globals out from top bottom all the time and rotate. And I think a style like this would be very difficult for Nomia to fight against.
I do like that Vala pick, though.
Yep.
That is giving Gale Force serious pause in getting that, because the Task was banned, but the Ariel was not. Gale Force do not want to give Ariel over to this, but they also want Ariel and Vala together, and it did take some time to figure out, is it okay to give Ariel back to Vala? At least it's not Task, Vala, and Ariel, but actually...
All right.
Okay, that's a scary format already.
I must admit, I was completely on the same train of thought as you, Gilly. I thought Vala Ariel is the way to approach it for Nomia. I feel like their team fighting is actually just better than Gale Force. And Vala Ariel is the epitome of constant team fighting, trading, early game pressure, and it's a great way to circumvent the global issue, because when you're attacking with the strongest possible 4-man that you can, no one has the freedom of movement to send a global here, send a global there. There's just too much pressure. Still, Lieutenant Morales and Zarya, they fill that same niche.
Yes, exactly. And it's something that even Gale Force themselves have played before on Braxis. There is still an Uther. We'll see if Gale Force wants to add another support to that. There is a very likely possibility that they could play something like even a Brightwing along with that if they wanted to. It is a rare double support situation, but we have seen it from them. They're looking at a Stitches ban for now.
I feel like Gale Force has to run a second support. Otherwise, Zarya's empowered grenades do too much pressure on a support like Uther. Even though Uther got better at sustained heals on Brax's holdout, with constant multi-shots and Zarya grenades, Gale Force cannot hold.
Sometimes in North America, we will see a Chromie pick as a way of, with a support, just trying to hold off, stave off that aggression as best they can, run out the mana of Lieutenant Morales, but you're exactly right. That Lieutenant Morales Zarya together is terrifying enough, and Nomia knows that ideally you would want somebody else to go along with Uther as a double support, so they're banning Ariel.
And the Oriel ban is fantastic, since Oriel Uther has been the bane of so many teams' existence at the mid-season brawl in particular, where that was run over and over again. For Gale Force, this is actually going to be quite tricky. There's a double global, so this is exactly the same global combination that has been run particularly by Dignitas in the past on the European side. And they played it with 2 different variations that I mentioned earlier. One time running both globals on the same lane and then rotating them down if you can take a very advantageous 5 versus 3 or 5 versus 4. And then one other variation where you keep 1 global in the 4-man, 1 at the top lane, and rotate them out constantly to get 2-man ganks at the top lane and never miss out on experience.
You were mentioning, Grubby, though, that Gale Force without an extra support might not be able to hold against what they see on the other side. With the Tesla ban that they've already had on their side kind of puts them in a weird spot where they would have to have a second full support. But then they don't have huge amounts of kill potential on their side.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they can run Lily, they can run Stukov. I think Stukov in particular is great to deal with these mass support comps, because that is the best way.
Yeah.
Supports have low base stats, so when you silence them, they are not as good. So maybe Stukov will come out here as the fourth. I think it would make extreme amounts of sense. You can even get one good top off, one good spread at level 4. You get the mana and the cooldown reduction on your heal. I think Stukov is the key pick here. Nomia, for that matter, they go with Arthas to be their front liner, Sonya for the solo lane. So Nomia will definitely run a standard 1-4 split. Gale Force still don't have to. They can put 2 people in the bot lane, 3 in the top, and just kind of trade.
But can you?
I mean, you're going to lose a Ford. Maybe you kill a Ford?
I mean, yes, you can attempt to trade, but I think what we're seeing here has so much push potential that you eventually are going to lose out on the race.
I agree, but you've got solo support Uther, so that means that you need to make a kill in a few minutes, or you will get inundated by the dolphin strokes of Nomia.
This is the exact same draft that Gale Force eSports ran the last time they played Braxis Holdout versus Superstars. So once I saw the Dahaka Uther false stat new Brack, I was like, oh, I think they're headed down to their final pick of Greymane.
Yep.
So they've got the burst damage off of that, the cocktails for a clear, as well as trying to throw them over the gate.
So you say that, but they go up against a very different draft compared to what they went up against in that. So how do you see these two drafts molding against one another?
Well, you've got the double global, again, that we mentioned. So the idea there is that you can run them together, but you also have the freedom to send some down for picks. And with Nubarak, Greymane, and Uther, you have already strong heroes to be able to make sure that you can get those picks. Trying to stop the constant sieging, though, of Nomia is definitely going to be key.
I think the key point for Nomia is they need to make sure that their top laner doesn't die.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't fall there.
That's everything.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really like both of the lanes have to communicate 100% when they lose vision, because there is going to be, if they go for traditional split at the start, there's going to be a global on each lane.
Right.
And if you then don't call that you lost sight of the global, even if you still lane, doesn't matter, then your top laner might die. And once the top laner dies, the game is maybe not lost, but you're falling far behind since you lose out on experience. And no matter how hard you win the 4-man with the sieging outcome, it's just not going to be enough.
I think so too. You need to put the Vala, blah, 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 pressure on automatic pilot. And ad nauseum, just always say, Dahaka missing, Dahaka return, Dahaka missing, Dahaka return. Because Dahaka can go bot lane, make a 5v4. That's the key to break the siege.
Yep.
And vice versa, faster to the top. That's exactly it. Everything comes down to Sonya. The rest of the force should be able to battering ram the castle wall down. And what GFE has here is a mobile, lightly armored cavalry. Not very good against the battering ram, but again, if they can take out Sonya, then that is the key.
Okay, well, thank you very much, guys, as we now head over to game number 2 here. So Trickster and Skimmy take us into GFE versus Nomia.
Nomia looking to bring the fight to Gale Force eSports. But Gale Force eSports, man, they handle themselves pretty well in game number 1, and they're up in the series. Can Nomia do it?
I mean, they love to play aggression. They did it in game 1. I'd argue they are the better team fighting team. It's the strength. This is another map that they're quite happy to play, so it's all to really play for.
It's going to be interesting to watch because Gale Force eSports is strong on this battleground. We've known it for months. At the beginning of HGC this year, they have always gone to Braxis Holdout if they want to earn a victory. And Nomia coming here to this battleground is definitely looking for a bold statement. Can they do it and give us our first game 3 of the day? It's definitely going to be a big task for them, but if anyone can, I believe your team can.
Well, you know, I'm a little bit disappointed in the Nomia boys for not actually running the Harry Potter composition, which is where you go Ragnaros and Li Ming, and you just blast somebody up super crazy. Lava wave for the Zerg wave as well. It's a crazy strat, but we do crazy things down under.
Well, hopefully we get more of those down under strats as we go straight into the match here. Gale Force eSports in the blue on the left side, K1 Pro on Greymane, Fan on Falstad, Caffeine on Nubrek, Michael Udall on Dahaka, and Akaface playing Uther.
And everybody's favorite boys from down under, Nomia, Fat94 in the solo lane playing Sonya. In the bottom lane, we got John on Zaya, Vanilla on Medic, Arcana on Vala, and Robert rounds things out on Arthas.
So our analysts really put it down here. The 4-man is going to be very strong in this bottom lane. Arthas running the charge here, going to be having those shields popping up for John as they'll be taking the shots from the turret, and they intend to break down these walls as soon as possible. Sonya in the top lane will have to be careful and make sure not to get picked up underneath that lane. If Uther comes in with a stun and a Dahaka drag comes out, that will be a dead Sonya. Nomia already making progress around here. They're going to put damage on Fan. Fan will get hit with the Howling Blast and retreat away.
Yeah, Nomia going to break some walls down, much the same as Trump's trying to construct them in NA. So beautiful start here from Nomia. And I say, Fan already low, not much he can do to defend this.
Not much you can do except soak the experience and let everyone know that you are losing your lane. So here we go. Fort gets picked off, but in the same time, in the top right, Gale Force eSports is aware of this 4-man and how strong it's going to be. They finally get their own fort and answer back. So both of our teams are both missing a fort in their lanes.
I'm just looking at Nomia's picks here on the talents. We've got Zarya with Feel the Heat, a lot of damage, and much the same as what they said on the analyst desk. I fear for Gale Force eSports, if they can't find a pick in that initial setting, they're going to struggle with the sustain with a solo Uther.
Feel the Heat will help out with the melees on the opposing team. If ever a new Breck Dahaka or Uther get near that Zarya and she has energy, they're going to burn through. But we're playing for keeps here as our teams are running in. Keep wall falling in the bottom left, but at the same time in the top right, Gale Force eSports doing the same thing. We are neck and neck.
Oh, I just don't understand what's going on right now. It's all about pushing power. I say they don't even care. They're going to go for the keep in the bot lane, and looking in the top lane, it's even Stevens as well. Ben is still alive. Fan is still alive too. They're both healthy, but they're both rushing for keeps.
Time to go to the core afterwards. Let's do it. Let's go all in here. Arcaner goes forward, puts damage on Fan. Fan will be fine. He gets away. The keep does fall in the bottom left. Both teams losing keeps on both sides of the battleground, and we now have a match where catapults are already pushing at 2 minutes into the game.
2 minutes into this game, and you see this happening. It's crazy stuff, and with the Zerg wave spawning perfectly to complement those catapults, it could all be done and over with one Zerg wave trick.
Now here's the issue for Nomia in particular, Gale Force eSports. They have 2 globals available to control these beacons that have now spawned, one on the top and one on the bottom. If their rotations are on point, they'll be able to outmaneuver Nomia and make sure to set up and grab beacon progress at a slow amount of time. So Nomia will have to decide how they want to handle that pressure, but also at the same time, get their 4-man in that top lane.
Much the same as what we saw come out of GFE on Infernal Shrines. Rotations, rotations, rotations. They've got their globals. I think that really is their strength in this game, and I'd love to see them just execute that and even just avoid the team fights.
All right, so Nomia has elected to decide to stop pushing here and try to put themselves in a spot where they just keep moving back and forth between the lanes. They're trying to soak and stay with Gale Force. Gale Force, the other time, is putting Dahaka in the top, scouting out Sonya, having their 4-man in spots where they are not noticeable, making it difficult for Nomia to move around the map. Without them having visions on their opponents, they're in a spot where they always have the threat of a 5-man rotation jumping on their 4-man.
100%, and I mean, that's something that GFE need to be fully aware of, and I would say they actually have the advantage with this keep rush, with the globals, because they can always push with the likes of the Dahaka and Fausted, force out the retreat from Nomia, and play those mind games.
Already, Gale Force eSports grab Mercenaries in the top lane. They'll have Fausted bolster that out, push it in as aggressively as possible to help out with the catapults. He can get away from a fight if need be. Also has that barrel roll whenever he wants to retreat away from a fight. So Gale Force eSports having that pressure in the top will allow for them to move towards 7 and force Sonya to come back in. And while Sonya's coming, Nomia's electing to go ahead and bring multiple people. You're seeing the stress of them, trying to figure out how they handle the side push. Hang on though, Fan taking damage, he'll get hit with a spear. Finally he does get away.
Yeah, I mean, Nomia's key strength here is any time they go for the rotation, they need to commit all the resources and go, and they need to get kills. They're not going to win just by split pushing or trying to run around this map like a headless chicken. They need to go and get the kills, otherwise the split push pressure from the globals is really going to punish them.
And we begin race number 2 as Dahaka and Uther will push in the bottom, but Nomia will push the top instead. Walls are be taken out. Caffeine has sneaked onto the side here to go ahead and grab the beacon, trying to hold some pressure for a little bit. Sonya does get picked off.
Yeah, Sonya going to drop here, and that's a big crux of their success really for Nomia. If the Sunliner dies, much the same as what happened on game number 1, they are going to fall real predator to this one. Fan denies the vision. The Howling Blast is good, but he gets himself out. Bird is the word, and he's rocking it.
And here's the thing, with him getting for that retreat, he's able to get over here and siphon a little bit more experience on that beacon there. At the same time, Dahaka has been pushing in that bottom lane. The Force can get picked off, and Gale Force eSports is about to take a massive lead in experience as they're moving on to level 9. They already got a good spot.
I mean, they've basically taken dancing lessons here, GFE. They're just prancing around this map, always playing sort of catch-ups, and almost like a game of tag saying, you can see me, now you can't. Do you want to fight? Not going to let it happen.
Nomia would love a kill here. That would help out a lot, but Caffeine just baiting them there until the burrow charge gets out right away there. Look at the beacon progress, 76% to 10 here as Gale Force eSports continues at their lead. Nomia needs a fight. They need a pick. They need something before level 10.
100%, because if this is a full 100% Zergrave, they've got the gust potential as this game progresses on just to rush for a core and end this game sub 10 minutes.
Fan taking damage. The top lane has decided to be picked up. At this point, Nomia, I think, decides to go ahead and just go for the aggression. Try to break down this fort. Have Sonya on the side. In fact, they have all 5 people in this top lane. It's going to hurt, though, because the bottom's being pushed in by Uther and Dahaka. They're going in for those keep walls. And if they break those open, remember, they're going to have a big Zerg wave in the top.
Yeah.
And potentially, if that actual keep falls too, that's catapults.
Gale Force are breaking walls once again. They are just opening up this map so well. And it's forcing Nomia to say, well, we have to retreat. GFE on the cusp of hitting level 10 themselves once again with that power level, with the initiative, and with the plays.
Beautiful player from Gale Force, just really showing their full understanding of this battleground and how you can push your advantage forward when you have these double globals. You can always keep somebody in a lane getting the experience, whereas Nomia, who are they going to leave in a lane by themselves? They have no options. Sonya's already been picked off by herself, and she doesn't have the actual sustain or damage to actually handle a potential 2-on-1. So Nomia now will have to defend a Zergwave pushing in the top, while Gale Force eSports simultaneously hits level 10.
Yeah, this is just about to go 0 to 100 real quick. The Zergwave 10% to 100. GFE waiting in the brush, waiting for that one member from Nomia to head on out. And as we like to say in ANZ, never face check a brush.
Never hit those bushes, man. Those drop bears will definitely come out. In this case, it's going to be a Dahaka. Burrow charges forward. Going to be able to hit here from the Nubrak. Fan flies forward. He has the Mighty Gust. He drops it on Arthas. He's in the Zergwave. Robodoba hoping to live, but he will not do so as he falls.
Not going to happen for them right now. That's one kill. That's the front line down. Only Zaya and Sonya remaining. Divine Storm's going to hit them. They're looking for more, and they take out Vala. Can I get a triple kill, says the auctioneer? And yes, they can. They are onto the core. They are here to make a statement. Game number 1, it was a warm-up. It was a quick match. But game number 2, let's do this before 10 minutes. I've got a plane flight to catch.
Gale Force eSports with 2 kills here shows the beauty of their understanding of this battleground. They should secure a 2-0 victory over Nomia and will be moving forward in the winner bracket. Incredible play for them. Great control of their double globals and their ability to get away from